we need to decarbonise our society, decarbonise our way of life, and PVs is one way of doing that. So far this year, we're in energy credit. It's good to use things in the house when there's energy being generated by the PVs, and the app helps you to do that. So I was absolutely blown away with everything that you did. They were absolutely fantastic. I can't praise them highly enough. They did an amazing job. Thoroughly delighted.
Today I'm here with Heinz, who is a long-standing client of ours, and Heinz has an incredible property that I'm very excited to share with you. I'm sure Heinz is very excited to tell us about. We recently installed some solar panels, 24 Meyer-Burger panels and a Solar Edge system with a 20 kilowatts of battery storage. So first of all, can you just tell us a little bit about your property?
The idea of the house, when I first conceived it, found this site, which was really a brilliant site for what I wanted to do, was to have a carbon neutral house as much as possible. And at the time I finished building, we have lots of sustainable features. We have a ground source heat pump, we have rainwater harvesting and an earth tube ventilation system. The house is heavily insulated, so it has a low energy demand anyway. It's very heavyweight, so it has a lot of what's called thermal mass, which helps to moderate temperature fluctuations internally. But it's also highly insulated too. And I always had an idea to install solar panels on what is essentially a south-facing roof. I did install some at the time, but when we were building, they were quite expensive.
Yeah, you had seven.
Yeah, I had 7 on the lower bit, and there was always an idea to extend that, so there was some capacity to expand on that. And so now, what are we? 8 years later, I decided that time is right with energy costs rising, the energy crisis and electricity, the cost of electricity and everything else, fossil fuels and so on going up. I wanted to do as much as possible to, reduce my reliance on external fuel sources. So it's an ideal opportunity to expand the array, and that's how, because you'd done work for me before, I got in touch with you, and you guys came and did a fantastic job installing my panels. I've still got the potential to expand it even more.
There's more space.
If the costs come down even further, but at the moment it's working extremely well. I mean, the idea is that over an annual cycle, I will generate as much as I consume. Obviously, during the winter months, you're going to be consuming more electricity than in the summer months because of the heating, but essentially it will be a zero equation. Production and consumption over the year.
So Heinz, would you mind sharing a little bit about your experience with Kimble Solar, in particular the solar installation? And
of course, yeah, no, I'd be delighted to. Well, as you know, I first came across Kimble as a company when you just did some garden lights for me, and at the time we had a conversation, if you recall.
It was your charge point, was it?
It was my charge, yes, that's right. And we were talking about, the future and solar PV and things like that being really, really important, and having companies that knew exactly what they were doing, that could be reliable, technically competent, and all the rest of it. And you were starting on your journey, I think.
I remember you saying you wanted to be our first customer.
And I said, I'll be your first customer. Unfortunately, I wasn't your first customer, I guess. But nevertheless, when I was thinking of expanding the array that I have on the roof, it was a no-brainer to come back to you and ask you to do it for me, ask Kimble Solar to do it for me. And I have to say, I was absolutely blown away with everything that you did. I mean, I've been in the industry quite a long time, so I understand, how people go about selling things and what you can rely on and so on and so forth. But your guys and you in particular, when you came and we went through the various options, as you recall, of what was going to be the best, there's a fantastic presentation that you sent to me of the options with, you know, the PVs shown on the roof with a from a drone shot, which is very important because for me in particular, this is, you know, what the house looks like is a big deal, you know, you can imagine. Anyway, so it was important to get it right. And then when your guys turned up, it wasn't the sunniest of days. We'd had a bit of, you know, bad weather. It was a bit murky and gloomy and possibly a bit rainy from recollection. But they were absolutely fantastic. I can't praise them highly enough. They did an amazing job. They were so helpful, so attentive, so respectful. They did it within the time frame that they said they were going to do it within. And the installation was great. You know, they stayed late to do it because they wanted to just finish a few things off because they'd had a few interruptions from rain. And it was brilliant. I really, the guys were great. They were absolutely brilliant. Every single one of them. You know, they were a credit to your company. They were fabulous. So
They're a good bunch.
they are a good bunch. Yeah, and they're you know, again, we live in a world where, you know, you don't always get from people what they say they're going to give you. And, you know, you hear horror stories of all sorts of, you know, tales from people who have employed, particularly in the building trade, you know, plumbers, electricians, whatever it is, you know, who've let them down, haven't come back, haven't, you know, been interested in the quality of what they're doing. But none of that is the case with Kimble Solar. Absolutely fabulous.
Thank you.
Thoroughly delighted. And the other thing that I think is great is the app. I love the app.
Yeah.
I look at the app probably 3 or 4 times a day. This is an app that goes with the particular installation that I have.
You've got Solar Edge, so you can see every single panel, can't you?
It's just brilliant. It's just, I'm such a nerd that I like to see how much energy is being generated. But it's actually quite useful because when there's a lot of energy being generated, particularly when, you know, obviously when the sun's shining, it's going, you know, it's going great guns. But during the sort of shoulder seasons, when it's a bit sort of half and half, it's good to use things in the house when there's energy being generated by the PVs, and the app helps you to do that. So you can see how much and already so far this year, we're in energy credit in terms of the energy that we've used in the house. So today, for instance, all of the electricity that's being generated up there is going into the grid.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's amazing.
Days like today,
battery's full, it's going straight into the grid. So, you know.
And it's safe to say the battery's going to see you through to the following day at least.
It does, yeah. It does, definitely. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And some. Yeah. It's sort of it lasts definitely all through the night. But we don't have much of an electrical load other than hot water heating, and of course the appliances, the washing machines, and
in the winter time when your heat pump is then more active.
The heat pump's very energy hungry, but it's a kind of it works to heat everything up. But once the house is at an ambient temperature, because of the high levels of insulation, the energy that's required to keep it at that temperature is fairly minimal. So it's not a great deal.
Yeah.
It's just the initial, you know, getting it up to speed, really.
What energy tariff are you on? Have you switched a tariff at all?
I'm on a tariff. We're with Octopus Energy, and they have this tariff for the sort of thing that we have here, which is it's a variable rate one, but you get credits for feeding electricity in.
Most energy companies now are offering 15 pence, so I don't know what you've currently got.
That's a good, I think it's not quite that. I think it's about 11 or 12.
Okay, it's much better than what it was. It was about 3 or 4 pence, you know,
yes.
a year or two ago. So 15 pence seems to be the norm now.
That's right. Yeah, I think that's right.
So at least days like today, you should.
But you know, I mean, why you shouldn't get what you pay for electricity from a supplier that you supply with electricity. I mean, it's a bit of an easy equation to think about, really. You know, you invest money in the system, you should be able to. It would just incentivize people, I think, more. And of course, you know, we need to decarbonize our society, decarbonize our way of life, and you know, PVs is one way of doing that. once you've worked out the payback period, and the payback period could be relatively small. I mean, for me, it was always a question of not wanting to be paying more and more as tariffs increased to electricity companies. I wanted to be off grid as much as I could be.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe have more batteries. Maybe that's the answer. Get more batteries. Stack a few batteries in. But
you got room for one more, have you?
I think I might be able to. Yeah, fit another one in. That'd be great. But all that technology is very interesting, because the technology now, as opposed to when we finished the house, which is 8 years later, has advanced. Almost exponentially in terms of the efficiencies of the panels, the efficiencies of batteries, the price as well. So all of that's good.
Yeah, it was about 2 years ago when battery technology properly started to reach the market. Before then, it wasn't particularly something that people did.
No, and I think it'll get better and better as the efficiency of production improves, and the efficiency of the batteries improve. Then it's the future, isn't it? We all hopefully will one day be driving electric cars. Which is another good thing. I mean, I have a hybrid car, and when the sun's shining, I power it up, and it's great. It's fantastic. I
think the Anderson does support solar charging.
It does, yeah. It's great. Yeah, it feeds straight into it.
So when we did your installation, I know we had the AC route, which is from where your supply is through to where the inverter is. That was a bit of a tricky route. It
was a tricky route. Well, there's another. I mean, your guys were great, because we worked out where we had to get the wires to, and there was a little bit of to in and fro in and exploration as to what we did. I mean, what I should have done, had it been smart, is to have a passive duct that I could have easily done. But hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it? Next house. But we did find a route, and you can't see where it goes, and it's hidden in ceiling voids, and it's hidden underground, and we got all the way to it. So it's fine. It's seamless.
Excellent.
The guys were great. I mean, they, the shining lights and trying to get through. We did work it out. They were great. They were really fantastic. Amount of effort to find a route. You did extremely well. It's fantastic.
So inside the plant room,
yes, the mini plant room.
It's a solar edge system. So we've got a 10 kilowatt hour battery. What size inverter did we go for in the end?
Good question.
Is it 10? I feel like we might have done an 8 or a 10. 10. Yeah, 10 kilowatt. Yeah. So you got.
Yeah, it's 10 kilowatt.
A real big one. They're so compact though. For a 10 kilowatt inverter, solar edge is so compact. I'll tell you why.
You see, that's what I'm saying. This will be compact. It'll be half. I'll get 10 of them in there. We're powering the whole lane.
So Solar Edge is an incredible product, but their battery, their 10 kilowatt battery is huge, is a monster. And up there is a 10 kilowatt inverter, and you'd expect that to be huge, but actually it's not. It's actually very compact for a 10 kilowatt inverter, that's single phase. And that's because Solar Edge have got optimizers behind every panel, and it works slightly differently from other solar systems. So the optimizer's going to do a lot of the hard work in a way, and they just give the inverter effectively usable power that it can easily convert. Right. So very, very compact unit. Heinz, thank you so much for that detailed review about your installation with us, and also showing us around your home.
That's my pleasure. Delighted really to be able to talk to you about it, and to be able to perhaps reassure people that it's a really good thing to do. It's painless relatively. It's good for the environment. It's good for your pocket. It's a brilliant thing to do. Wouldn't hesitate to do it.
All right. Well, thank you very much, and I guess we'll see you on the next house design then. Next house design,
or when I expand the array a bit more, you never know, a few more sneaking this side of the chimney.
There's more room.
There's more room, exactly.
Thanks very much, Heinz.
It's my pleasure.